again book review time, and today I'm here to review for you guys Dragon's Blade by Michael Miller. Hello everyone, it is Samantha and I hope you guys have had a great day. I am here today with a book review. I've been kind of falling behind on book reviews, so I'm trying to rectify that with today's video. And I'm here today to review for you guys The Dragon's Blade by Michael Miller. I was sent this by the author in exchange for a free and honest review, and that is exactly what you're here to get today. So, what did I think of this book? Stay tuned to find out. So The Dragon's Blade is an epic fantasy story that follows our main character, Prince Darnur, never really sure how to say his name, and he is basically the Prince of the Dragons. The fun little twist of the book is that the dragons have taken on human form. So basically they take on the form of big, bulky, strong humans, and they can live longer than normal humans. Darnur, we're just gonna call him Darnur for simplicity's sake. So Darnur is the Prince of the Dragons, and he holds a lot of anger and animosity because he's very frustrated with his father because the kingdom has basically been being overrun by demon hordes, and he feels like his father is not taking the steps necessary to protect his people as well as the lands of the humans and the fairies. So he feels frustrated with his father, and I guess with good cause, because soon after the book starts, their entire kingdom is overrun, and they were in the process of evacuating the entire city when the prince himself ends up trapped and wounded. But he is soon rescued by the wizard Cosmo, who ends up transporting him to this land, this place up in the mountains, and he ends up doing a very complicated and risky spell. It basically transforms Darnur back into a young babe, so he basically will have to live out the rest of his life again, and he'll have no memory of his past life. So he's trying to save his life and kind of hopefully mold him into a better person than the old Darnur was. So the story then kind of progresses and follows Darnur as he progresses up to about the age of 18. He has joined the Hunters, which is this elite group of human fighters who are basically trying to protect the people from the demon hordes. And he kind of soon learns and discovers what his heritage is, and that he is actually in fact now the king. And he kind of tries to come to grasp with that, as well as trying to protect all of the world from being overrun by demons, because the demons have kind of taken over again and have made this final push. So he's trying to unite the humans, the fairies, and the dragons, and kind of come into his own and really discover who he is. So that's the basic plot of the Dragon's Blade. As for what I thought of it, I thought it was okay. It wasn't the best fantasy story that I have ever read, and it wasn't the worst. I could definitely see how he was pulling from a lot of different fantasy elements and fantasy stories, such as the Shannara series and the Lord of the Rings, but he definitely was able to kind of make it more of his own. I did like the twist, the dragons being human. I've read that before in stories, and I always kind of find that fun. Though I would like to see dragons in this story, kind of like how they did in Seraphina, be able to transform between like actual dragons and human form, but who knows, that may end up happening later on in the series. As for the characters, I thought they were okay. Darnur actually found a little bit annoying throughout most of the book, so he was kind of a hard character to connect to because I felt so frustrated and irritated with him and kind of his general attitude, even after he was transformed back into a baby and kind of regrew into a young man again. I found a lot of the outside characters to be more interesting, such as his mentor, such as Cosmo the hunter, who ends up kind of raising him, Brekenden the wizard, and some of his Darnur's friends. I found to be a little bit more interesting than the main character themselves. I do feel like the story kind of dragged a lot in the beginning as well. I think that the story could have been cut down a little bit in the beginning. A lot of the action-packed stuff didn't really start happening to here. This is really when the plot started kind of picking up and developing, and a lot of this was a lot of build-up that I felt like could have been shortened. So I was having a hard time focusing on the story for the beginning and middle parts because it was just kind of dragging a little bit, so I think it could have been trimmed down a little bit more. So basically, I think my main complaints were that the story could have been cut down and the characters could have been a little bit more fleshed out, as well as the general plot could have been a little bit more fleshed out. I kind of felt like it was a little bit all over the place there. I will say that there are some very intriguing twists to the story. There are some very interesting revelations that I thought were quite fascinating that happen at the end of the book, especially in terms of the demons and what's going on there, because the demons, you kind of get some of the story from their perspective as well. So I thought that was kind of an interesting contrast in the story. So some of the twists were very interesting, but overall the book was okay. I ended up rating it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm intrigued enough to read book 2 and see if the story gets better. It definitely holds a lot of promise, but I think that with a little bit of work, it could definitely be a lot better. Alright guys, that is it for my spoiler-free review of The Dragon's Blade by Michael Miller. You'll have to let me know if you've read this book and what your thoughts are, and anything else you want to write down in the comments, feel free to do so. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Until next time, happy reading. Bye!